Filters are a great way to adjust the frequency response of both inputs and outputs in the DM series. You can use the input filters to tone out, even out tonality differences between different type of microphones. So, for example, if someone is speaking on a lavalier and then they move to a gooseneck microphone at a podium, they sound like the same person rather than having a big difference. It also helps get rid of some audio analogies. For example, one of the problems with my voice and my speech pattern is there's a lot of sibilance in my audio. A real high frequency response that can be a little bit of irritating. So we can go to in filters here and we can work on my input, which is input number 1, and we can engage filters. You go up here, you have 6 filters available on the front end, and you have 9 identical filters available on the back side for speaker management and equalization. So let's just pick a filter. Let's go to a low shelving filter. What a low shelving filter does is it allows you to set up a low frequency response and get rid of some of the bassy response in the voice. So here you can hear that I don't have that bottom end booming like I did in the original recording. In fact, we can even make it very boomy if I want to get a more manly sound here. Not a possibility with my voice. But let's go ahead and give ourselves just a little bit of roll off on the bottom end on this to get rid of some of the proximity effect of the microphone that I'm talking into. And we can change the slope of that as well and make it 12 or 6 dB per octave. Now, that sibilance that comes up in my voice, we can go after that. That's high frequency, so we can go out a high shelving filter. Actually, I should have saved the other one, but let's go ahead and play with a high shelving filter. You want that to be relatively high in frequencies. So up above 5K is pretty much the upper end of our voice response. And then you can take that filter and you can get rid of some of that high frequency sibilance. Now, you can see that it's not nearly as irritating as it was before. So this helps reduce some of the excessive sibilance in my voice and makes the microphone sound much more stable. Now, I've got the low end, I'm still on filter number 1 here, so I lost that low shelving filter. So if you want to combine filters and have multiple filters, you select the next one, and then you can adjust your low frequency response. And we can even this out and get a much smoother response to my voice. Now, if you'll notice, there's not the irritating high frequency in my voice in normal speech, and the proximity effect, getting close into the microphone, has no adverse effects. There's also a ADFE, automatic digital feedback elimination system. An ADFE setup is done by simply engaging the switch here, setting the ADFE filter, and then following the setup screen. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead and adjust your gain on that input right here. Now, in this case, this input is already at maximum level. You can do the same type of ring out by bringing up the level of the amplifier, and you will see filters engage in these windows. Those are your primary ring nodes for that particular microphone at that particular location. This is a very sophisticated little filter. Don't ramp the volume up dramatically and put it into nose-bleeding feedback, because the way this filter works is by looking for the singular rise of a harmonic response in feedback. That's a single frequency. Then it goes out to check to see if there are harmonics. If there are harmonics, the filter does not engage, because that's probably an electric guitar, an organ, or some type of instrument. If it has no harmonics, then it engages the filter. So if you ramp up the volume on your amplifier way too fast and get into clipping, clipping generates harmonics, and that will fool the filter. So that's all there is to setting up inputs. And you can now, if you notice here on the input filter, we've got a red and a blue profile. Blue is the combination of all the filters, and red is the filter that you're working on. Another filter that's available is a parametric. A parametric filter can be used for a variety of things, including notching out feedback, or you can use it for getting an increased response at a particular point in a voice. For example, if I wanted to set this little filter up for right here, let's give it a little bit of a boost at 1K and have a fairly narrow filter, I can again radically change the response of the microphone. So filters are best set up with a little bit of instrumentation and a whole lot of ear.